Greetings, people of the YouTube, it's Multiplier here with a fantastic video, as normal, as always, full of jokes, hilarious commentary, and also very useful information relating to music and stuff. Buttons, computers, noises, all of that thing. So, what is going on right now? It's a little bit different to normal, but that's cool. Basically, lots of you have been asking for, I don't know, like a year now, are these online mastering services any good? Shall I use them? And you know what? I've never used them, to be completely honest. I've never even researched it. So what I thought would be cool is, as part of some sort of live freestyle jazz experience, to actually just test it out in a YouTube video. So we find out together, are these services any good? And I have chosen this one because the website looks cool. It's called eMastered, and it's a mastering engine made by Grammy-winning engineers. So that sounds pretty sweet. And yeah, it is available free for a limited time. So I thought that would be the easiest way to actually demo this. I think there is another competitor or whatever, or maybe even 2 or 3, but I'm not an expert. It's not my job to know these things. And yeah, this one is at least available free for a limited time, and it's got Grammy-winning engineers in it. So I thought, let's just use this one. So let's get into it. Let's stop jibber jabbering and actually do some digital mastering instantly. Learn more. Nah, let's just do it straight away. So let's click that button. And yeah, I brought up 3 unmastered tracks I finished ages ago, 2014. That's how long ago. And it's from my album that I never completed. So it's a unmastered but fully mixed track, or tracks in this case. So yeah, which one shall I choose? And you've definitely heard 2 of them. You might not have heard Trippin' in a Castle. But I want to do Happy Floaty. Now let's do Trippin' in a Castle, because loads of you have heard Firecracker and Happy Floaty Cloud Fun, whereas not too many people have heard Trippin' in a Castle, which isn't actually the name I went with when I was nearly finishing the album. But working title name. It's actually called something like, what was it? Something about castles, like Super Bouncy Castle Fun. It might have been called Super Bouncy Castle Fun. Not like a bouncy castle, or maybe like a bouncy castle. Just because when I was writing the song, it sounded like you were in a castle that was all bubbly and bouncy and you were bouncing around in it. So I decided to call it something like that. So I did maybe Super Bouncy Castle Fun. But you know what I could have done? I could have told you all this while it was uploading, because that's would have made sense. But, oh, it's nearly ready. It's nearly ready. Right, I'm putting the phone back. Right. Pretty much uploaded. We'll see what happens. I've no idea what happens now, but we'll probably have to process it, maybe. I don't know. Grammy award-winning engineering. Processing, right. Your song is currently being mastered. You know what I should have done? I should have been talking about the mastering process. But didn't really, did I? It's basically just preparing your track for distribution. So when you finish your track, you need to maximize that track within the constraints of an audio file. That is basically mastering. So that was a nice sentence. And it's playing. Turn it down, turn it down, turn it down. So this is the original, I think. Wait, yeah, because that says original. And then, shall I just let it play for a bit, maybe? And then I could click mastered. What's it doing now? Oh, do I need to pause that? There you go. Ooh. Ooh, that is better. Oh, press the wrong button, right. Ooh. It's brightened it up, which is something that I did know was a problem in the original mix. So this is the original. Notice how, ignoring loudness temporarily, it needs brightening up a little bit. I mean, it's not bad. It's not a horrible mix, but it did need brightening up. And then, yeah. Way better. It's louder too, obviously. So, I mean, it is louder, but that is all kind of obvious stuff. Obviously, they're going to run it through a limiter to make it louder, but let's listen to a little bit more and make sure it's not ruined, because that tends to be the problem with automatic services. I imagine, I've never used any. I imagine it's quite easy to accidentally ruin a track if you just use it, if you just kind of do it algorithmically instead of using your ears, but Yeah, seems to be good so far. In fact, really good. Let's listen to further in. Better than I thought it would. I can't hear any artifacts. Nice. Wowzers trousers, what happened there? That's crazy. Damn. Well, I was kind of hoping it would sound bad, to be honest, because then it'd be funny. But it doesn't sound bad. Awesome. Should I download it? Let me download high-res MP3. So, click maybe? Email it. I'll do that later. I can't be bothered to do that now. But actually, yeah, I'll do it now. This is my email address, by the way, people. If you want my exclusive personal email, even though the multiplier one does actually go directly to this anyway. Download. Cool. Shall I save it? I'll just leave it as that. Sick. Should we check it out in Tractor? Yeah, let's check it out in Tractor, then I can show you what it's done to the file. That's useful. That's information. That's more than just me jibber jabbering. But yeah, that is properly cool. I genuinely, I thought it. Oh, what is going on with my mouse? Genuinely, I thought it'd be like, I don't know, just limited and then crudely EQ'd, but damn, turns out, yeah. I mean, I suppose it's kind of like, I know conceptually you could master by an algorithm because it's a lot more science than it is art. Most of the, like 98% of mastering is science, 2% is art, and the bit that's art isn't really mastering anyway. So yeah, mastering is, I suppose, a science. It's just, yeah, I didn't realize you could do an algorithm that good. So awesome. Let's check it out in Tractor, or Tractor as it's called. Tractor. So yeah, let's load up. In fact, I will put the unmastered on the left so you can look at the waveform, and then the mastered on the right so you can look at the waveform. Damn, son, where'd you find this? Lost it. Where's it gone? Hard drive, users. There you go. So that would be the mastered on the right, and then the original Don on the left. I'm going to give you some thoughts about mastering in general, independently of this mastering service in a few moments' time. Oh, perfect. Look at that loudness as well. Oh, perfect. Wowzers trousers. I thought it would destroy the track. What I was expecting, I was fully expecting this, is just a heavy amount of limiting, and then call that mastering, maybe some crude compression or some tape saturation, but no, that's cool. Right, so unmastered track on the left, you can see it's not taking advantage of the full available space in the waveform. Track on the right, the mastered one, is taking advantage of all the available space in the audio file. That's basically what mastering is. You have an audio file that you want to write your track into, so you want to take advantage of all that space available without destroying your track. If you crush it into the very limits of the audio file, it sounds bad, and you don't need to crush it really heavily anymore, for reasons I'm about to talk to you about now. So basically, you know the loudness war. If you don't know what the loudness war is, look it up. I can't be bothered to explain it now, but basically, the loudness war is disappearing. You don't need to go down the route of making everything super loud anymore. It just needs to be kind of loud enough, because there's this thing called perceived loudness normalization that pretty much every platform uses, whether that's iTunes, Spotify, what other platforms are there? iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, they're the big platforms, I suppose. All of the platforms, apart from SoundCloud actually right now, all the major platforms normalize for perceived loudness. In other words, if you have two tracks of different loudnesses, say a loud track and a quiet track, what Spotify is going to do is adjust the levels of those two tracks so they sound the same level of loudness. So it's perceived loudness normalization. Therefore, it's actually in your interest not to make your track super loud. There's no point in making it as loud as possible. Otherwise, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes are just going to turn them down, and then you don't have as much headroom. You don't have as much dynamic range. Actually, you have more headroom, but you basically don't have as much dynamic range, if I say my words right, if you make your track really loud. That was a stupid sentence. Right, so if you make your track too loud, someone like YouTube is going to turn it down. Therefore, you have a worse dynamic range compared to if that track was, say, normal loudness. Makes sense? So yeah, you don't need to make your tracks super loud anymore, which is really cool. Saying that, you do need to make sure it's loud enough. There's only so many dB that say iTunes or YouTube will turn your track up and down, so it does still need to be in the right ballpark, but yeah, don't make your track super loud anymore. There's literally no point. In fact, if you make your track too loud, it's actually going to sound worse in all situations, so don't do it. Anyway, back to this online mastering service, eMastered. I can't believe it worked so well. That is mental. So first of all, it made it brighter, which is what I wanted. I remember running this original through some spectrum analyzers about a year or so ago to work out what I needed to do with the EQ at the mastering stage. So in my head, I knew that it did need to be made brighter, and I was kind of hoping that the service would do it, and it has, which is cool. So yeah, it's got the EQ right. Crucially as well, it hasn't just done some stupid compression. I'm not a fan of compressing almost ever. I don't know, it very rarely makes your track sound better compression. So I'm glad it hasn't just ruined the kit drums and the bass and all that, and all the little transients by just running it through a crude compressor. So that's pretty cool, or really cool. And then yeah, it's made it exactly the right level of loudness, which is what I was looking at these orange dudes up here for, because they're basically the auto gain settings in Traktor. So this is Traktor doing perceived loudness normalization. So if there's a quiet track, Traktor will turn it up. So you can see in the unmastered, it's turning it up 8.1 dB. And then in the mastered, it's not turning it up at all, or 0.1 dB. So yeah, that's literally showing you what perceived loudness normalization actually is. The cool thing about that is you can use these auto gain settings as a scientific reference for loudness of your track. So I know for any given genre roughly where the auto gain settings should be. In the case of something like dubstep, it needs to be, say, minus 1.5 to -5 because it's a super loud genre. In something like techno, you can have anything from -2 to +6, +5. In something like this, again, similar range, maybe -1 to +3, or -2 to +2, something like that. So that is pretty much bingo, bango, bongo, right in the middle of the loudness range, which is perfect. So awesome. How cool is that? Really stoked. And I'm glad they haven't just ruined it. I was, as I probably said to you by now, what I imagined this service to be is something that changed your track. Obviously made it louder because you just run it through a limiter. It's always going to make it louder by running it through a limiter. I was fully expecting that. But what I thought it would do is ruin the track by adding character, and therefore hoping that you thought the character it was adding was bad. In reality, it hasn't. It's just made sure everything is where it needs to be in terms of EQ and loudness, which is the most important two bits. All this character stuff you do in the mastering stage, like tape saturation, sometimes compression, even stereo widening. To me personally, that's a mixing process. Mastering to me is double checking EQ, occasionally doing EQ tweaks if you haven't done it correctly in the mix, like this track here, and then limiting, and just making sure that limiter level is appropriate. And that's what it's done. So yeah, nice one, eMastered. Yeah, I haven't checked out the other competing services, so I'm not going to make a judgment on which is best, but eMastered is cool. And I have no idea about pricing either, so I wonder if I can work it out from the website. All I can see right now is available free for a limited time, so what I'll do is include a link thing below. Click it, it will take you directly to eMastered. Yeah, and then figure it out. You can work it out. I think it looks like, I mean, I did this for free. I haven't done anything special. I just typed in eMastered into the Google, and yeah, this came up. So yeah, you can at least get some stuff for free. I don't know what this limited time stuff is about, but you figure that out. But yeah, I suppose to answer the many questions I have got about online mastering services, if you just, yeah, they work. The short answer is they work. Obviously, you could always do this yourself, but you know, to lots of people, it's quite hard to check their EQ and to check their loudness. So if you want a guaranteed way to make sure your EQ and loudness is appropriate, sweet. I'm impressed. I kind of wish it was funnier, but it's not funny enough. It just works. So yeah, that is a look at eMastered. Shall I end with a funny joke? Because that's basically what the YouTube, basically my YouTube channel is just an excuse to make funny jokes. So the fact I do music is pretty arbitrary. So how about this? I'll just orientate the screen correctly. I'm going to finish this video with, you ready for this? Some donkeys. Yeah.